To anyone that has a disability or disorder, what's the worst thing a teacher's ever said about it?
I have APD, which means...
This one's kind of funny. So I'm a type 1 diabetic and I have an insulin pump. And my insulin pump has a little cord that connects to like wherever my site is that gives me insulin directly to my pump. And I had a teacher who liked to walk around with scissors and cut headphones. So then one time we were in the middle of independent study, like just like doing like worksheets and stuff. And I hear snip. And I looked around and she like looked back at me. I said, "Did you just do that?" And she goes, "Shouldn't have your headphones hanging out of your pocket. They're not allowed on school premises." And I replied with, "That was my insulin pump that you just cut." Now I was newly diagnosed. I was 14 and I had no extras. So I got the rest of the day off at school because she cut my insulin pump and nearly killed me.
To anyone that has a disability or disorder, what's the worst thing a teacher's ever said about it?
I've been waiting for this. I have a bunch of disabilities that cause issues with brain fog and memory retention, so I have the legal right to disability accommodations in school. And Miss Lena Erickson at Western Washington University tried to tell me I wasn't allowed to have them. She actually lied to me and told me that the entire psychology department didn't allow memory aids as disability accommodations, which is illegal, and I called her out on it. The Disability Accommodation Center told her, "You can't deny her these accommodations. You could get prosecuted." And yes, the department of course allows it. She told them that letting disabled kids have disability accommodations is unfair to those who don't have disabilities. In the end, the Disability Center forced her to let me have them, but she insisted that it wasn't fair because I quote-unquote didn't look disabled. I'm not sure what someone with brain trauma was supposed to look like to her, but evidently I wasn't it.
Anyone that has a disability or disorder, what's the worst thing a teacher's ever said about it?
I have so many stories. So I'm hard of hearing, and because of that I need certain accommodations, and I've really battled with teachers and administrators to get these. One of my teachers was so resistant to provide closed captions on videos, even though it was on my 504 plan, and this accessibility is literally required by law. But he said to me, "I'm busy outside of school. I have a life. I don't have time to make accommodations for you." I also have a Roger pen, which teachers wear around their necks like a lanyard, and it amplifies their voices in my hearing aids. Several school administrators were giving a safety presentation on the procedure of if a shooter enters, and they refused to wear the Roger pen because they, quote, had stage fright, and wearing it would have compounded on this and made it too hard for them. A girl a year younger than me also used a Roger pen, and one of her male teachers refused to wear it because he thought it would threaten his masculinity. Don't work in education if you're not going to accommodate all students.
So I have ADHD, dyslexia, and I have a small speech impediment. And so because I have those things, I get a special counselor, I get extra time on all my tests and everything. I get when I have to take my test, I can go to my counselor's room and make sure I have privacy and make sure that like I'm getting help and all that stuff. And you cannot give me pop quizzes. That's in a contract that I sign as a student before I go to the high school. And so this teacher gives a pop quiz, and you can't do that without giving me at least 24 hours notice. And I say, "Oh, that's fine," because I'm already doing really well in the class. And I'm like, "Hey, can I go up to my counselor's office because I'm allowed to ask for that?" And he said no. And I was like, "Why not?" He's like, you're getting special treatment. Why should you be able to do that?" And you will not believe what he says next. I will give you a part 2. Hold up. Okay, here's a part 2 to my last story. Okay, so this is a speech impediment. Hold on. Okay. I asked, "Can I go up to my high school counselor?" And he's like, "No." And I say, "Why not?" And he says, "Why do you deserve to get special treatment? No one else is asking to do this." And I say, because it's in my contract as a student. And he's like, "You're not special. You have to stay here. It's not that hard." It doesn't matter if it's hard or not. I just have to go up to my counselor. Like, why is it that big of a deal? He's like, "Because then that means I have to write you a pass, and I don't feel like doing that." So I just sat there and I took the test and I failed, and then I told my counselor about it, and she yelled at him, and it was really funny. And he's one of those teachers that hits on all of the female teachers no matter if they're married at our school, and he was just such an asshole. Like, oh my god.
To anyone that has a disability or disorder, what's the worst thing a teacher's ever said about it?
Ooh, I've been waiting for this. So I have epilepsy, and I have pre-seizure warnings.
We call it glitchy. So one time in math class, I was feeling glitchy, like I felt like I was gonna have a seizure. And I had a tendency like not to be in class, like I'd walk out and never come back. And we had a substitute teacher who didn't know my seizure protocol. My girlfriend Sarah, like she knew something was wrong. And I was like, I don't feel good. Can I go to the bathroom? The teacher looked at me, glared at me, and was like, no, you can stay here. You have a tendency to leave. I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna have a seizure, like I need to go. And like Sarah was like, she has epilepsy. Teacher's like, no, you can stay here. So I got mad, I looked at her and I was like, fuck you. I feel like I'm gonna have a fucking seizure and you're keeping me in class. I'm leaving. And she's like, if you're leaving, don't come back. I'm like, Sarah, come with me. She's like, no, Sarah, stay in the class. So I left and then Sarah followed me like for part two. Part two about my seizures. So the teacher's like, Sarah, stay in the classroom. And Sarah's like, her seizure protocol that you don't know about is somebody needs to go with her. And she's like, I don't believe it. And I've never seen the substitute teacher before in my entire life. So I could tell she was new. And I get that I had a tendency for leaving and I understand her reason for trying to keep us both in class. But who the fuck jokes about having a seizure? Like even I wouldn't go that far to get out of class. Anyway, so I leave. And I go to the bathroom. I left my phone in the classroom by accident to prove to her that I was coming back. And Sarah ended up following me, but I didn't know that because she wasn't behind me when I was there. And I asked somebody in the bathroom. I was laying on the bathroom floor like I was about to have a fucking seizure. And somebody who I'd never talked to in my entire life, she was one of the popular girls, was like, are you okay? Like, do you need something? And I was like, I need to call my mom. Like, I don't feel good. I'm gonna make another part. Part 3. So I'm laying on the bathroom floor like about to fucking have a seizure. I'm shaking. This girl's like, do you need help? And I'm like, yeah, can I borrow your phone? I need to call my mom. I feel like I'm gonna have a seizure. She's like, yeah. Like, okay. Called my mom. Couldn't hold a straight conversation with her. So she knew something was wrong. And I swear to God, my mama bear just about lost her shit. Sarah entered the room and I told her, I was like, the teacher wouldn't let Sarah come with me. Like, she doesn't know my seizure protocol. She thought I was lying. Like, I'm in the bathroom shaking. My mom was like, stay there. I'll be right there. My mom's a teacher at another school. So, like, Sarah walks in the bathroom. Miss Domino comes in. That's like the hub teacher. That's like the support teacher. My mom called the other teacher, like Miss Domino, and lost her shit. I'm gonna tell you what she said. I'm totally gonna tell you what she said in part 4, my final part. This is what my mom said to one of my teachers, Miss Domino, the best teacher. She is like fucking amazing. I love her. She calls her and she's like, go and find my fucking daughter. She is in a bathroom somewhere about to have a seizure because her teacher does not know her seizure protocol. And I'm pretty sure my mom was more mad at the fact that like no one educated the fucking substitute teacher about my epilepsy. But like who lies about having seizures? So Miss Domino comes in freaking out as like per usual. My mom gets there. She was not impressed. Sarah was like beside me the entire time because she's like 10 out of 10, like, I don't deserve her. She's, like, sitting there making sure I was okay. She didn't give a fuck about that teacher. She knew something was wrong, and she came with me. That's a true best friend. Once I was all situated in the car with Sarah, she went back upstairs to that math class and just sorted everything out. Pretty sure my mom got her fired. When someone says they're gonna have a seizure, they don't lie.